exactly what I wanted him to do about it. "You expect me to stop this boy Mitchell and the others from messing with you?" I didn't say anything. "You want it stopped, Paul," he said. "Then you stop it. This here's between you and Mitchell and whatever other boys. I'm not getting into it." My daddy was true to his word, too. More than one time he saw me with a busted lip or a bruised eye, but he showed me no sympathy. He just looked at me and said, "See, you didn't stop it yet." After a while, though, he said, "Paul, you don't stop this soon, those boys are going to kill you." "Well, they're bigger and stronger than me," I protested. "Then you use what you strongest at, boy. You use your head. Now take care of it." I took care of it all right. I enlisted the aid of my brothers Hammond, George, and Robert. I figured Hammond and George could sure enough stop Mitchell. Of course, they already knew of my troubles. They'd seen my busted lip and bruises, too. But they had been away at school during most of the time Mitchell had been beating on me, and I hadn't been able to turn to them for my rescue. Robert, of course, had wanted to help me out, but there hadn't been much he could do. He was as small as I was. Now Hammond and George were back home, and I figured to settle this thing. "So what you want us to do?" Hammond asked. I was looking for complete and absolute revenge, and I figured Hammond at 18 and George at 16 could provide that for me. "Put the fear of God into 'em," I declared. Hammond smiled. So did George. Robert, though, nodded solemnly. "We can do that." Robert was 9, same age as me. Of my brothers, I was closest with Robert. I suppose in part being the same year's children made us close. But there were other things, too. We had been together practically since birth, and we always took care of each other. When I got into trouble, Robert was there to pull me out of it, if he could, or at least to see me through it, and I did the same for him. More than one time when one of us would be getting a licking from either my mama or our daddy, the other would jump in to try to stop it, and we'd both get whipped. We shared everything together. Back then, Robert was always on my side. "They got no business beating on you," Robert said, expressing my sentiments exactly. "That's what I figure, too," I said. "We'll take care of 'em tomorrow," Robert promised. "Now, wait a minute," said Hammond. "I don't know if that's such a good idea." "What's not good about it?" I asked. "Mitchell and those other boys been beating on me for the longest time, so y'all go beat on them a while, and they'll stop." Hammond was quiet a moment, then said, "Well, I don't know if that's quite fair." "Sounds fair to me." "Me too," said Robert. "But George and I are older than Mitchell and those other boys, and we'd have the advantage," said Hammond. "Well, that's the point of the thing," I said. Hammond shook his head. "'Sides that, they live here on our place, and if we get into it with them, it'll look like we're bullying them." "Well, they've been bullying me." George looked at me dead center. "You tell our daddy about this?" One thing I liked about my brother George was that he laid things right on the line. He said exactly what was on his mind. On the surface, he was an easygoing sort of boy, with a body that seemed to hang in a lazy fashion, such as always having one leg dangling over the arm of a chair when our daddy wasn't around. But the truth was, he had himself a fierce kind of temper when baited, and a steely right hand to match. He had never used either against me. I always told him the truth. "I told him all right," I replied, in answer to his question. "Well, what'd he say?" I didn't speak right up. "Well, I know he said something. He told me he wasn't getting into it. He told me to stop it, so that's what I'm trying to do." George laughed. "Yeah, you trying to stop it all right. You trying to get us to stop it for you." "Same thing," said Robert. Those were my thoughts exactly. "Look, Paul," said Hammond, "I'll have a talk with Mitchell, but I'm not going to go beating up on him for you. Understood?" I looked at Hammond and nodded solemnly, but I was figuring the only thing Mitchell Thomas would ever understand was a good whipping. That very next morning, Robert and I, sitting behind Hammond and George on their bays, went over to the patch of ground Mitchell's family tended. Now, the Thomases, like all the other families who lived on my daddy's land, were sharecroppers, and because of that fact, they were obliged to take heed of whatever my daddy or my brothers said. Ms. Thomas was sure enough taking heed right now. "Edna," said Hammond, as Mitchell's mother stood in her dark doorway, "where's Willie?"